party of young men of the Ojibwes started out from their village in the Bay of Shagwamagon to go, as was customary, and spear fish through holes in the ice. William Warren, 1685.
Schoolcraft and Alexander Henry, and way back into the 1700s and the early 1800s, they all reported from this area that they were gathering fish in this way, using a wood fish decoy through the ice. How long, we don't know, but we have the feeling that it was probably quite a while. The Indians have been spearing, ancient spears have been found, copper spears and harpoons have been found. Whether or not they used them with wooden fishing decoys, we can't say, because the wood would have long ago deteriorated. Unless you find something under ideal conditions, it will be gone. But we feel it was before contact, and that it originated in the upper Great Lakes area. That's controversial, but that's our feeling at this time. To go out spearfishing, you need a dark place in the winter. You need a dark place to spear from. It might be a shack, and it's a teepee with the Indians. Most of the guys in Lac du Flambeau use teepees. Alder boughs are frozen in and then covered with blankets and so on, and a conical hole is made in the ice, and boughs are put down, so you're in the dark when you're in the teepee, but the whole water lights up like an aquarium. It's marvelous. And then you need a spear. In Flambeau, it's a short spear, rather heavy. It's hurled, it's tied to a line. You need a fish decoy made of wood. I would say probably the wood most used is basswood or white cedar, pine. It has to be weighted. Currently, since contact, the lead weight, meltdown bullets or lead or from anywhere, goes in a cavity in the belly to weight it down. And you need a line tie, which a line goes up to a small stick called a jig stick. You need a chisel or a spud or something to cut a hole in the ice, usually a strainer to strain the ice off the top. And then with all those things, other things being equal, you're kind of in business. Live bait was generally very difficult to get in the winter. So the wood decoy had to work, and it was a matter of necessity. And it was a good way to get fish. It's not an easy way to get fish, but it does work. The sculpture is so wonderful. It's one of the last great examples of woodland Indian wood sculpture. I mean, when you stop to think of it, this is, it's really wonderful. Generations of people doing it, and the workmanship, especially, I'd have to say, especially in Lac du Flambeau. I mean, you look at some of these are just remarkable, and they're functional. Sometimes it's the only artistic thing a man might do in his life. This is kind of what started this whole thing off. It was the first Lac du Flambeau fish decoy that we found years ago, and it was made by Willis Allen, Ross Allen's brother, and it just was so fine that it got us going on this whole thing, this whole interest in fish decoys, especially fish decoys made by Native Americans. The fish decoys are found from Georgian Bay to Lake Simcoe, Chippewa, throughout Minnesota, throughout Michigan, a northern part of Michigan, a northern part of Wisconsin, Canada, both the Cree and, of course, the Chippewa. Some people do still make decoys in most of these places, but it's just not like it used to be. The only place where it seems to be a real ongoing tradition is Lac du Flambeau, and more guys are making them and going out. The tradition really is going on there more so than anywhere else.
Most generally, I fish in the wintertime. It's a time for me. I fish for food. I spear muskies through the ice. I make my own decoys. 90% of my decoys are made out of basswood. For me, it takes a long time to make a decoy. Make sure it has the right turn on the tail, and make sure it's weighted properly, and the fins are the right size, and make sure that it's colored right, painted or otherwise. So it takes me a long time. But I want that decoy to attract fish. I can make a decoy, I should say, but I won't make a decoy in a hurry. big fish, they eat little fish. They think this is something to eat. Decoy. I like to teach people, whether they're children or adults. I like to teach them if they want to learn. Something that I use here, but we're Indian people, and this is what we've always done. It's a traditional way to get food, because that's when we get fish to eat, good fish. You don't have to go to the store there and buy fish sticks.
Major source of food for a muskie is perch. And make a lot of perch. They eat bluegills, trobbies, the suckers, and whitefish. They're going to Cisco's running. That's what the fish eats, and that's what you make. That's the kind of decoys that you make.
So you got to know how to make them, you see. That's the whole thing. You put lead in there, see. You see that lead, where to put that lead, how much to put in there. You got to know how to do that. Where do you got to put these fins? These are fins. How do you place those fins so that they'll swim? You got to go out there in the woods and get your wood. And then you got to get your lead, and you got it all ready, all this here. For the fins, this is tin or iron or tin. You got to get all of that. So it takes a long time to make a decoy. Somebody was over there at my house today. He wanted me to give him 3 decoys, and I wouldn't do it. It takes so long. He wanted to give him, he wanted to buy him, and I didn't know he was going to buy him either. I told him, I said, well, I'll make you 3 decoys. Good, he says, good. And he likes my decoys. He knows that I get fish for them, you see. No, everybody don't make decoys the same way. It's all individual, no matter, you see. You look at them, well, you make them the way you want to make them. That's what everybody does. They all make them different.
Although they're curious too, and they come around out of curiosity. Or maybe some of the decoys I've seen, I think the fish come in because they're probably scared of it, you know. They're probably scared of it. Scared that it attacked it out of fear, you know. Some of them will, but you know. So I generally just try and make a decoy just what fish eats.
It goes around. You pull it like this, and it goes around. You don't go around like this. You pull this up and down. It goes around. I remember once when I was little, I was making a decoy. I tried to make decoys then even. So I made a decoy, and it was something like this here, but my dad had a decoy, so I looked at the decoy. I'll make one just like that. So I went ahead and I made it. So I got it in the water like that. You know, they're supposed to go around like this, how a fish swims like that, you see. That's the way it's supposed to go. So I pulled this. I went like this, pulled it like that. It went backwards like this. That was my first decoy I made. It went backwards. So you got to know how to make them, you see. I mean, so that they go right. They go like this, went backwards like this here.
Now we paint them. The old days, all they were just burnt them. They burnt them, you know, and poured lead in them and put fins on them. That was it. Now we paint them so they look more realistic. They make a decoy now to satisfy the customer, not the muskie. Traditional decoys are made to satisfy the muskie. Years ago, they didn't have curved tails. When I was young, they were all straight. The decoys were straight, made straight. Now, almost all of them are made so that they curve, so that they'll turn. The movement of the decoy triggers the predatory instinct of the muskie. And I believe this is primarily, why they come in. They're curious, they recognize that as food, and they right away, instinctively, they want to eat that fish, eat that decoy. So it's a predatory instinct. They're a top predator in the lake. Each one does it different. They don't even make the same kind of teepee. They're all different teepees. They don't make decoys the same. They don't have the same kind of spear. It's all, what I say, personal choice. You see, if you get fish, that's what it's about. If you can get fish, no matter how you do it, you get fish. Each one makes a different kind of spear. They like different. I like big barbs on here. These are big barbs. A lot of them, they only have one on this side, 2 here, and then 1 here. Small barbs. I like big barbs because I hate to spear a fish and then have them get off and then go somewhere and die. With these big barbs, and they hold it on there when I spear them, so they can't get off. This was just a water pipe when I see a water pipe. So I put that in the furnace too, and then I got a red hot here. See, then I took a hammer and I hammered it flat like this here. The reason I did that is so that it goes through the water good. If it's sitting out here big like this, and it wouldn't go through the water good. Now it really goes through the water. And I took these here, the nails on here. Well, then I took all of that up to the welder here. And I took this, I had a piece of iron there, see. Here, I said, I want you to weld this for me. I had nails here. I had weld nails on here for the barbers. And he welded this together here. Okay, man. So this is what he did. And I took it back and I ground it. Then I went and I got lead. And it's filled with lead all the way up to here about. I poured lead in there. This is a wooden spear. It's made out of wood, all wood, you see. And that's what they were using then to spear with. See how that's made? It's made special. This is all wood here. Maybe someday this is all going to be gone. Maybe it'll be a thing of the past. Or maybe we won't be able to do it anymore for some reason. But it's nice for you kids to know that there's a way for you to get food, you see. It's a way for you to get something to eat. So you gotta keep it alive. That is a tradition with us. Many times when I was young, that I had to go spearing to feed my sisters and brothers because we didn't have any food. If I didn't get any fish, we didn't eat. That's the way it was then. I've been spearing a long time, maybe 50 years. I was smaller than you guys here when I went spearing with my dad. I was only about 6 years old. I remember I used to ride on a sled and going out there. I'd probably get tired, so he'd put me up on a sled and I'd ride out there on a sled. The snow was deep, I suppose. I was a little small fellow like that. And we used to walk a long ways. It's hard. It isn't easy, because you got to know how to do this. You got to know how to make this stuff, you see, before you can even go spearing.
I was taught by my father how to spear. What I haven't been taught, I learned myself. Sitting there and trying to analyze what happened. Why did it happen? Why was I able to get a muskie right here in this particular spot where 15 feet away I couldn't get a muskie? Why?
There's a lot of things that go into the decision of where to go on any particular lake. I tell everybody, the boys, and they ask me, where should I spear? Well, I said, do you fish muskies? And they said, yes. All right, where would you fish muskies? And they said, well, you look at a map and say, this here looks like a good spot. It says weeds, and here comes out the underwater point here, and weeds on both sides, deep water around it. That's where I would fish them. Well, I said, places, that's where you spear them too. The same place. No difference. So you have to make a decision as to where you go. You make a hole, I don't know, I'd say about that big around. I imagine what that would be, maybe 15 to 18 inches across, around. But underneath the ice, it flares out like that, comes down. I try and teach everybody to do that, to make that flare. Some don't make it much, some make a lot, some make a real good one individually. And it's more work, of course, to make that, but it seems that when it's like that, the fish come in there much better. You got to fish in a certain depth of water because the fish won't come around there. They live in a certain depth of water. Like muskies, I try and average, I guess, about 12 feet. Sometimes I go deeper, sometimes I'm in 10 feet of water. It all depends on what lake I'm on, too. Because sometimes the water's dirty and sometimes it's really clear. So when it's clear, I try to go deeper. Sometimes I try, even clear water lakes, I'll go shallow water too, maybe 6, 7, 8 feet.
When you chop a hole knife, you look at it, it looks black. You can't see anything. But if you cover that hole and look down in it, it's just like a window into another world. You can see everything down there. See the weeds, see the bottom, see other little fish swimming around.
It all depends on what lake I'm on, because I know that those fish on different lakes, they go different places. They'll be in different places. They'll live in certain places. They'll eat in certain places. A lot of times if you go where they live, you won't get fish. Sometimes you go where they eat, where they feed, that's where you'll get fish. At one time I remember I chiseled through 42 inches of ice, and it was the wrong spot because I was 42 inches down on the ice was gravel. I went right to the bottom of the lake. So I had about 3 hours of work, so I had to move out. Took me another 3 hours to chisel another hole. But there I was, all right there. I'm the oldest member still spearing through the ice. It keeps me active on a personal level, and I enjoy doing it. And it's fun too, And not only that, but I get to feed my family. Love to eat muskies. They're really a good food fish. You gotta know how to make that. What do I need to go spearing? Well, you say I need decoys, I need a spear, I need blankets, I gotta make my teepee, I need canvas, I gotta get all that thing, all of that.
You have to go get your bows. The bows are used to protect your equipment from getting wet, and not only that, but they darken the area around the hole, so the fish are less likely to see above.
Muskies are, yes, they're extremely smart. I consider them very intelligent. They learn from their mistakes, because I've seen where a lot of guys that went spearing, muskie will only come in and they'll stop because he knows better to come in and learn than not to come in there. They learn from their mistakes. So I don't take every fish I see, I don't spear them all. I got a lot of respect for those fish because they're smart fish. They get big. The only way they get big like that is because they're smart. If they're dumb, I eat them then if they're dumb. Many days you don't get a fish. Don't even see one sometimes. You go to the same place the next day and you might see 7, 8. Sometimes I get in the hole, drop my decoy down, there's a fish. Comes right in there. Boom, I got him on the ice. Sometimes I won't see one for a week sometimes.
I say, how can you sit there for hours and hours jigging a decoy and never see a fish? One thing that spearing through the ice does is it teaches you patience.
So I don't take every fish I see, I don't spear them all. Sometimes I won't spear a big one. Sometimes they look so good in there, I don't spear them either. Especially a tiger muskie, beautiful in the water. I use tobacco to thank the Great Spirit for even allowing me to be there, allowing me that day. Get your money though. Allowed me to be there to take that muskie so I can feed myself and my family. It's very important that we do things now to protect water quality, especially because without clean water, fish can't survive. I would like to see it continue. And I see as we go along, I see more young spearers now, a lot of young spearers out. I tell all these young people they should do this. Then that way you can keep this alive and keep it going.